In 1981, a 21-year-old Ohio woman named Debra Lee Miller disappeared after a night out with friends. Her murder shocked the small rural community, and for more than 4 decades, no one knew who was responsible. But in 2024, investigators finally uncovered the truth, using technology that didn't exist when Debra was alive. Debra was bright, outgoing, and deeply loved by her family. In 1981, she was just beginning her adult life, working, socializing with friends, and enjoying the independence of young adulthood. Her kindness left a mark on everyone she met, making what happened to her even more devastating. On the night she disappeared, Debra had gone out to a local bar with friends. It was a lively summer evening, music, laughter, and small-town conversation. But as the night wound down, Debra stepped outside alone. Somewhere between the bar and her home, she vanished. The next morning, a farmer found Debra's body at the edge of a cornfield. The case immediately became a homicide investigation, but the crime scene offered only limited clues. In 1981, DNA evidence was in its infancy. What detectives collected was carefully bagged and stored, but its true value wouldn't be realized for decades. Investigators worked tirelessly. They interviewed residents, bar patrons, and several persons of interest. But none of the interviews produced answers. With no strong forensic evidence and no eyewitnesses, the trail grew cold. Debra's family mourned without closure, and the case slowly faded from public memory. What kept the case alive, however, was the evidence collected on that first day. Investigators had preserved clothing and physical samples, items that would eventually hold the key to the truth. Through the years, new detectives reopened the file, hoping technological advances would one day provide a breakthrough. In 2024, forensic science had evolved far beyond the capabilities of the 1980s. Scientists retested samples once believed to be too degraded or contaminated. This time, the machines produced a nearly complete DNA profile, a genetic fingerprint pointing directly to the killer. Detectives ran the DNA through national databases. The results matched one man, James Vainest, a local resident known to law enforcement in the early 1980s. Vainest had been questioned shortly after Debra's death, but without evidence, he was never charged. The new DNA results removed all doubt. He was responsible. But Vainest had died in 2000, never facing justice for what he'd done. In December 2024, Ohio authorities held a press conference announcing the case was solved after 43 years. For the investigators who'd carried the file through generations, it was a moment of relief and triumph. For Debra's family, it was the answer they had waited decades to hear. Family members expressed deep emotion, sadness for the years lost, but gratitude for finally learning what happened. Though the killer could not be prosecuted, the truth brought closure. A wound that had been open since 1981 could finally begin to heal. The murder of Debra Lee Miller is a powerful example of how science can reach across time. Forensic technology that didn't exist 4 decades earlier solved a mystery that once seemed unsolvable. Today, Debra's story stands as a reminder. Justice may be delayed, but it can still arrive, even after 43 years.